Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and I'm back with another Hainbach AudioThing collaboration. I loved noises, and there's a few other little bits and bobs they've done together. But this offering, Dials, is a unique channel strip with some great quality. It's worth taking a look at. We'll send a bunch of signals through it. Let's take a look. Here's what the manual says. Dials is a detailed digital translation of a unique combination of 1950s electronic music hardware. It's made with the rich sound and experimental spirit of early electronic music studios in mind, but check out what it actually is. So it's a model of a repurposed German vacuum tube radio broadcast transmitter. It's sort of a test transmitter, more Hainbach test equipment goodness. And it's paired with, it says, a heavy-duty American bandpass filter. This filter is crazy. And it sort of makes a channel strip. There's compression, and then there's this sort of trip section down at the bottom, which allows you to use a LFO to modulate all of the parameters of the plugin. So much fun. Listen, we're approaching 3,000 subscribers here. It's surprising to me and delightful. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel. There's wonderful content if you're interested in finding music theory tools that are useful for you as a composer today. We do reviews occasionally. I certainly do like my gear, bits and bobs, and just philosophical musings on what it is to be a musician these days. But let's get into Dials. Here's what it looks like. And right now it's in animation mode because I have trip turned on. There's a preamp section, a compressor which has its own envelope, and then over here, your filters. Now, the overall effect of this is just stunning. So let's take a look at just this first patch. And I've modified all of these presets in order to work with the sound that I have here. Here's an untreated pad, and I'm going to change the mix from 100% dry to 100% wet. Two things jump out right away. The crunchy goodness of the preamp gain stage and compression mixed with this beautiful resonant filter. The filter, the low-pass multiplier, as you can see, is moving around. And we can open it up if we'd like. A little more bass, a little more highs. The trip is set to an LFO of half notes, basically. And it's modifying the high-pass filter, the volume, the high-pass cue, the low-pass filter, etc. Let's listen again and change a couple of those elements just to see what effect we have. First of all, let's push the low-pass filter modulation a bit. And let's increase the cue, that is the narrowness of the filter, and push that as well. That is a great sounding filter. It has hardware goodness. It really does. Now, at say a 50-50 mix, I'm content to just sit and listen to this. Absolutely beautiful. Well, that's how it sounds on pads, and I think that may be how I'm going to use it the most. But I was interested to hear how it would sound on Rhodes as well. Okay, here's my Rhodes groove. You can see the MIDI. It's kind of a gospel-y funk pocket, right? It has some propulsion. So I wanted to keep that propulsion. So I went into the trip filter and set it to a square wave, so it's modulating in a rhythm. Okay, let's go to 100% mix. That takes me right back to that sound of the 80s that I used to get out of my tiny little amplifier when I was playing clavinet. What a sound. you can see that the volume is being modulated radically over here, right? I've got filters changing both the high pass and the low pass. And dudes, look at the gain all the way up for gritty goodness. And again, this mixes beautifully. Oh, so much fun. All right, I've got bass and drums to check, some voice, and then we'll also try it on Hainbach's own audio instrument noises, just because we can, just because we want to have a lot of big dials in our faces. My drum pattern is a simple one. Here's what it sounds like without any of dials plugged in. It's that contact Abbey Road kit with a big flabby kick, almost a Dixie sound in the drums, right? But for that overdriven sort of early Tom Waits sound, a lot of preamp gain and filtering. It's so much fun, this drum sound. I love it. And again, it mixes beautifully. You can see I've sort of narrowed the filter and lowered the Q, so it's kind of a broad pass. And if we wanted to, we certainly could turn on trip and give it a little bit of animation on the top. I think that helps a bit, right? Sounds like you're moving around the room almost. So much fun. All right, same deal with the bass. It's a simple part, and it's going to go with the drums. This is dry and direct. And I've got a lot of sort of envelopey filter goodness going on here. Almost starts to sound synthetic, doesn't it? Open up the bottom a bit. Now, as I change the cue here based on the trip, it definitely creates a kind of an animation. I'm going to bring the drums back in because it's so sweet. This is a great pocket. And a lot of it is just the sound. I love a good sound, and I think that's what's exciting about Hainbach's work in general. His infectious enthusiasm for these oddball test equipment pieces that he manages to integrate into modern music is just delightful. Well, you know, it turns out that he uses it as his vocal preamp as well for all his YouTube videos, and you should check out his channel, by the way. Oh, it's delightful, absolutely delightful. So, you know, I thought to myself, well, what's that like? He's thoughtfully provided his preset for the voiceover plugin. So here's me, and I recorded it with this mic here, just dry, without. I think I tried to get the level match the same, but here, what it is just a great compressor with a little bit of edge to it. So this is dry. Dials is a detailed digital translation of a unique combination of 1950s electronic music hardware from composer and YouTuber Hainbach's studio. All right, so now let's kick it in and listen to the difference. 100%. Dials is a detailed digital translation of a unique combination of 1950s electronic music hardware from composer and YouTuber Hainbach's studio. It's very good sounding. You know, my dad was in radio the whole time I was growing up, and we're talking, you know, 60s and early 70s. And so I was around the radio station, and I saw all this funny gray-faced gear with big black knobs everywhere. That beautiful sound of vacuum tube technology, it creates a certain kind of saturation in compression that is, well, it's just amazing. All right, so let's just pop over to noises and hear the last example of what I'm talking about. Okay, so the way noises works is you can theoretically play it, you know, there's some patches that you can play from your keyboard, but mostly it's just like test equipment waves and noise and stuff like that. So right now it's off. I'm going to turn it on. So here's a beautiful, complicated patch. with a little bit of phasing in it, the filters moving around. I've got a review of noises, which is probably worth taking a look at. And I've created a dials patch that's gonna just thicken this up. Okay, let's just go to 100%. Now we're completely dry. Let's go to wet. The gain adds saturation. And it's like we've done a deep dive underwater in a way. Let's open up the filter. This is a stepped low pass filter. Now there's a beautiful sound. Listen to what's happening to the cue. And it starts to yowl around here and whistle at the top. In Hainbach's own video about dials, he makes the point that these numbers on the low and high pass filters don't really accurately correspond to the sound. So use your ears. And in fact, that's what I'm going to say too. Playing around with plugins like this, which are inherently chaotic, use your ears. Find something you like. If you find something you like, save it. Hey, I hope this has been useful. Like, subscribe, ding the bell. You'll be notified when I do my videos, and I will see you next time.